11. That will be what we are studying this morning, and these we will hand out for today. How many need? 2 or 1?
No, 2.
2.
That way I can do it twice.
There you go. 1, 2, 3. Let's see. Give one to Peggy down there.
Oh, okay.
Is this the next one?
That's for next week, yep. Next week's.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. What's up, man? There you go. RUB. Hey, guys. Good to see y'all back. Everything good? I'm glad to be back. I'm telling you. Howdy, dear. There you go. First Kings 19, 1 through 11. Got a question for you as we start this particular chapter. And it's this. Do the events of this chapter surprise you? No. Okay? Anybody else? Do the events of 1 Kings 19 surprise you? I got 1 yeah, 2 yeah, 1 no, 1 head shake yeah. A lot of people don't care. They surprise me. They surprise me. And the reason they surprise me is because in chapter 18, we had a revival in Israel, did we not? We had a prophet of God stand on top of a mountain and completely annihilate 850 false prophets, and then took them into a valley and slew them, did he not? And now all of a sudden, that same prophet manifests an entirely different attitude, entirely different behaviors than he did on Mount Carmel. And to me, it's somewhat surprising, but we'll talk about it some more. Who has a title for this particular chapter or this section? Glenn?
Elijah flees for his life and then wants to die.
Elijah flees for his life, then wants to die. Very good. I didn't put the last part of that. I just put the first part of that. Elijah flees for his life. And Jackie said she put that there as well. Anybody have another title that might just intrigue us a little bit?
Jezebel raged to kill Elijah.
Oh boy, he put the focus on Jezzy, didn't he? And that's probably where the focus needs to be. That was a focus in Elijah's mind, wasn't it? You know, so wicked Jezebel, unbelievable. An outline. Who's got the 4 points of the outline? Glenn will raise his hand.
Jezebel wants to take Elijah's life.
Okay, Jezebel wants to take Elijah's life. Point number 1. Number 2.
Elijah says, "Oh Lord, take away my life."
Okay. Elijah says, "Oh Lord, take away my life." Point number 3.
Elijah under the juniper tree, angel says, "Arise and eat."
Boy, that's a long one, isn't it? Elijah under a juniper tree and an angel says, "Arise and eat." Point 4.
Word of the Lord comes to Elijah.
Okay, the word of the Lord comes to Elijah. Good. I've got 4 points. Number 1, Jezebel endangers Elijah's life. Point number 2, Elijah entreats God to take his life. Number 3, Elijah eats at the angel's command. And number 4, God encounters Elijah in a cave. So those are my 4 points on this particular section. Who did Ahab tell what Elijah had done? Jezebel, yes. And Ahab told Jezebel all that Elijah had done. All that Elijah had done. We may mention kind of jokingly, it may have been one of the reasons why Ahab went to the feast of God. Okay, so he didn't have to go back and just immediately tell Jezebel, because he knew this woman, did he not? This woman is a wicked woman. What's her background? Okay, she's of the Zidonians, right? Which are not the people of God. Anything else? Okay, in the past, she's had prophets killed, hasn't she? Anything else? She is a worshiper of Baal. She does not care for Jehovah whatsoever. She is also the daughter of a king. Okay, the king of the Zidonians. So she is royalty, is she not? And now she is in a position of royalty in the nation of Israel. So she is able to have this influence. I bet you, as soon as Elijah walked through the gates and into his palace, guess who he saw? Jezebel. Okay? And I bet he didn't have to go far until she said, "What happened today?" And then guess what he had to do? If you're going to tell a woman, you have to tell her all. Okay? You can't tell her part. Because if you leave out part, then you didn't tell her all. And then she's upset. So he told her all. Just think about that. He told her all that Elijah did. Now, would that be an impressive story if he really told her all? Yeah. Just think about that. He built an altar. He put wood on it. He put the sacrifice on it. He filled he dug a big trench around it. He filled bottles of water, 4 bottles, not just once, 3 times. And the water was all around there. And he made 2 proclamations, 2 statements to his God, and guess what? Fire came and consumed that altar. Not just the altar, but the sacrifice, the wood, the dirt, the water, the stones. It totally annihilated everything. And she might say, "Well, where are my prophets?" Because they what? They ate at Jezebel's table, didn't they? These were individuals who were her advisors. They were individuals that she went to in order to get in contact with her God. They were her yes men, weren't they? And now guess what? They're all gone. Man, what a story. What a story. True or false? Ahab did not tell her about the prophets of Baal being slain. False. And withal, how he had slain all the prophets with the sword. As I was thinking about these prophets, 850 prophets. Is that a lot? That's a lot of prophets. Folks, the nation of Israel, even though it consists of 10 tribes, as far as land mass is concerned, it's not that big as far as the land mass. So you got 850 prophets that are out there circulating and operating and working in the nation of Israel. Guess what they are? Not only her yes men, not only her advisors, they are her eyes and ears to everything that's going on in the kingdom. Aren't they? And are men like that loyal to the queen? Oh yeah, they know where their bread is buttered, don't they? And they're out there looking for stuff, aren't they? They're out there looking to see violations, looking to see where people are doing things wrong, looking to make reports to the queen. And now guess what? Her eyes and ears, her advisors, her access to her God, they are all gone. You think that would chap that woman? Kind of helps you to understand why she's so mad at this particular prophet. What message did Jezebel send to Elijah?
Basically said that may her gods do to her exactly what happened if she didn't get him the same way.
Then Jezebel sent a messenger unto Elijah saying, I wonder who that messenger was. Don't you?
Somebody quivered.
Somebody dear. I'd just like to know 850 prophets are gone. But she's still got a messenger, doesn't she? Then Jezebel sent a messenger unto Elijah saying, so let the gods do to me. And more also, if I make not thy life as one of them. One of who? One of those 850 who've been killed, right? Now I find it interesting that she makes an appeal to her gods, doesn't she? Let my gods do this to me if I don't slay you like they've been slain. Man, I put this note down. Remember Ahab had told her all. I put this note down. She did not care about the results on Mount Carmel. You know that? I want you to think about that. Elijah told her all. How the prophets of Baal never got an answer from their God. How immediately God responded, and how 850 individuals have been slain. Folks, that ought to wake you up. Shouldn't it? She could care less. It didn't have one impact on her heart at all. Now, we're kind of amazed by that, aren't we? And yet, how many times do we sit in an audience and hear the Word of God, and it doesn't have much of an impact on us at all? Right? We just continue doing what we've been doing, operating like we've been operating. You know, we heard the message, we know what was said, we know that it came from God, and yet we just kind of keep doing what we want to do. Sometimes we're just not, or we're just like Jezebel, aren't we? Her anger was kindled against the man of God, was it not? She was going to do all in her power to rid him from the kingdom. He's the problem, isn't he? He's the problem. When did she say she would get this done by? By tomorrow, about this time, 24 hours. Now just think about that if you're Elijah. Now Jezebel said that she desires for her gods to kill her if you're not dead in what? 24 hours. I'd do everything I could do to keep myself alive 24 hours. Wouldn't you? Anything I could do. Because she's wishing death upon herself, isn't she? But what's interesting is she made an appeal to who? Her gods. And folks, there ain't no gods. Okay? They aren't any gods. They're all false. They're all made up. They're all fictional. They all do not exist. She made an appeal to something that was not even there. Just amazing. She was fortunate. I put this down. She was fortunate her gods weren't real. Because if so, she would have been a dead woman, would she not? To what city did Elijah flee for his life? Beersheba. And when he saw that, he arose and went for his life and came to Beersheba, which belongeth to Judah. Beersheba. Anybody know much about it? One main point I want you to know about it. What is it, Russell?
Where Abraham made a covenant with the king of Amalek when they made the well.
Okay, he did do that. It's not the point that I was looking for, but he did. We can sit here. Beersheba was a pretty prominent town, okay? I only got one point that I want you to know about it right now. It was the most southern town in the nation of Israel. Okay? It was as far as you could go and not get into Edom. Okay? You ever heard this phrase, from Dan to Beersheba? Yeah, Dan, the most southern town. The most northern town. Beersheba, the most southern town. Okay? He went as far as he could go south and not what? Not get out of Israel. Okay? And you can, I've got a map in my notes of it. Sometimes just go and do Google Maps and type in Beersheba and you can see about where it is. But it's a long, long way. Now, let's stop for just a minute. Now let's talk about Elijah. Okay? He's had a victory on Mount Carmel, right? Who provided that victory? God did. How many people did he stand in opposition to that day? 850. And they're all dead now, right? Now, it's Elijah against one woman. And he runs for his life. Two things. Has God left Elijah? What's this deal? God's not left Elijah, right? And it's just one woman, isn't it? It's just one woman. That's all it is. And yet, the very minute he hears the threat on his life, what does he do? He runs. What were you going to say, Dutch?
I have read of one individual that sticks in my head that did not fear the opposition and chastised his brothers for fearing that one individual and reminded them that God was more powerful than everybody. Even today, we fear death so much, people will change faith rather than die. So that's why I said that this whole chapter didn't surprise me, because they did exactly what I would expect to see how Israel always believed at the moment, but as soon as that moment was past, it was forgotten, and they leave God and go back to idolatry.
But we're talking about a man of God.
Yeah.
We're talking about a man who, for the last 3.5 years of his life, had been preserved by God, hadn't he? Folks, Ahab had been searching for this man 3.5 years and had never found him. And then, when he takes Ahab up to a mountain, whips his prophets by the power of God, and then overnight, or probably it's almost the same day, because he went back and reported it that day, and she said by tomorrow, he immediately flips, doesn't he? To me, it amazes me.
Look at the first king.
How do you allow one woman's threat to bring so much fear into his life? Why didn't he walk right into that palace and look Jezebel square in the eye and say, I'm a man of God, and you will not defeat me. I have already almost brought your kingdom to ruin. He didn't do that, did he? And maybe there is something in what Dutch said. There is power, or there is great fear in death, isn't there? Glenn?
Well, as you were saying, it took, Ahab was looking for him for several years. Well, how is it that Jezebel managed to get a message to him overnight?
Well, see, he now made himself known, right? He had now made himself known to all Israel, so it would have been easy to get a message to him. Wow. How far did Elijah go into the wilderness? A day's journey. Okay. How far is that? You know, I put down this. I put down a day's journey would depend. It would depend on terrain. It would depend on the amount of equipment you carry. It would depend on the weather. It would depend on the health of the individual who was traveling. An average day's journey, however, could be about 10 miles. Okay, about 10 miles. So he's fled to Beersheba. He leaves his servant there, right? And now he flees what? A day's journey into the wilderness. When we were backpacking with the kids over in the Ozark Mountains, a day's journey may only be about 3 miles. When you're carrying a 30 to 70 pound backpack and you're going up and down rough terrain, a day's journey, sometimes it's not very far. Individuals who hit the Appalachian Trail and try to make that whole 1,700 mile journey, if they get in about 15 to 20 miles a day, they feel like they're doing pretty good, okay? And that's on an average. So 10, 15 miles is probably all that he made. What did he come and sit under? A juniper tree, yes, a juniper tree. And I've got a picture of a couple of different kinds of junipers. There's some discrepancies in the commentaries as to exactly what this tree was. But we do know that he sat under it probably because it provided what? A little bit of shade to him, didn't he? And what request did he make? And he requested for himself that he might die. I did put this note. He was not suicidal. Yeah, he wasn't suicidal, right? In other words, he was not to a point where he was going to take his own life. He was exhausted. He was discouraged. He was concerned. And how about this one? He was somewhat hopeless. Now remember, standing on Mount Carmel, he had told the nation of Israel, right? If the Lord be God, then what? Serve Him. They annihilated Baal, and the children of Israel admitted what? The Lord be God. Jehovah is God. But guess what he knew? They weren't coming back. They weren't going to turn from their evil ways. So here you are, you've expended all this energy, all this effort. Yes, you've been victorious, and yet you are still what? You're still all alone, aren't you? And now you've got this crazy woman seeking your life, don't you? Okay? It is a little bit scary. And just think about this, and I don't know if any of you have ever reached that point in your life. Not that you would take your life, but just deep inside you felt this way. Death is better than living. Anybody ever felt that way? Okay? It would just be better not to be here than have to be struggling and going through all this mess and still be a man of God, still trying to be faithful, still trying to be steadfast, still trying to get the message out. I'd just rather be dead. Okay? And that's a hard place in life to reach, isn't it? But it does happen. It is blank. It is enough. I've heard individuals suffering on beds of affliction who have said that. It's enough. I'm tired. It's enough. I think I've told you about the little lady in Paris, Tennessee. She was the oldest member of the congregation. She was about a month or two ahead of the oldest man in the congregation, and she let him know it. That she was the oldest. And sweet little lady. But she'd always say, I just don't know why God is keeping me around. In other words, I'm ready what? I'm ready to go. You know, life is hard. Getting up is hard. She aches. She doesn't feel good all the time. Other people are constantly having to take care of her, and she didn't like that. And, you know, sometimes we just say, it's what? It's enough. It's enough. Barnes made this commentary. I am a mere weak man, no better nor stronger than they who have gone before me, no more able to revolutionize the world than they were. Wow. You know, you want your life to count for something, don't you? You want your ministry to count for something. And then when you get to the very end of it, or it appears to be the end of it, and there's not much there, you just wonder, why do I need to keep on? Right? For I am not better than what? My blank. My fathers. My fathers. Questions, comments? Man, when men begin to work, they often believe they can do better than the persons who went before them, don't they? Isn't that the way young people are? They see the old folks, oh, the old folks. I can do better than the old folks. And so they take over from the old folks, and guess what? They don't do any better than the old folks. Okay? They often find that the work is difficult. They are not nearly as capable as they think they are. In fact, they are just like those who have gone before them. Okay? Very, very interesting. Who came to Elijah as he slept and touched him? Yes, and he lay and slept under a juniper tree. Behold then, an angel touched him. Truly, he can say, I was touched by an angel. And he was, wasn't he? Angels are blanks of God. Servants of God. And they are sent to do the Lord's bidding. And there have been times when they have been sent to earth to minister to man. Hebrews 1:14, it says this, Are they not all ministering spirits, sent forth to minister for them who shall be heirs of salvation? We don't know, do we? We don't know. God can use those angelic beings for whatever He desires, can He? And we don't always know. What did the angel tell him to do? Arise and eat. Remember, there had been a festival, had there not, on Mount Carmel? But guess who did not go? Elijah didn't go. Elijah went on up the mountain with his servant in communion with God, and he told him what? Go look for the cloud. Is there a cloud on the horizon? Remember, it was Elijah brought rain, did he not? So apparently, he didn't partake of all the festivities and all the food of that feast. And then the very next thing he knows is a guy walks up to him and says, guess what? Jezebel's out for you. And off he goes. So this man's what? He's hungry. I tell you what you do. You don't go home and eat today. Okay, and I know y'all probably ate breakfast. You look pretty good right now. But don't go home today and eat. And you just go walk about 10 or 15 miles. And then sit down under a juniper tree and see what you tell me. Okay? You probably want to die, and you definitely going to be what? Hungry. No, hangry. You're going to be hangry. You ain't going to be just hungry. Okay? Arise and eat. Wow. In times of emotional difficulty, human beings do not feel like eating, do they? This only contributes to their physical and emotional decline. They grow weaker instead of what? Instead of stronger. Here we are, think we're helping ourselves, and we're not helping ourselves at all, do we? Thus, they need to be reminded to what? Eat. And have you ever had to force yourself to eat? Just because you know you need to? Sure, happens a lot, and that's where Elijah is right now. Some have referred to Elijah's condition as spiritual depression. A man in deep spiritual depression right now. And he looked, and behold, there was a cake baking on the coals and a cruse of water at his head. Now, I got two observations. Are you ready? Okay. Number one, angels can cook. See, you didn't even think about that, did you? See there? An angel had started a little fire there. And he had a what? He had cake there for him, did he not? I think an angel can manifest himself as a human being and can do the same things we do. Wouldn't you love to have tasted that cake? You know? Angel food cake. Okay? Now, my second question is this. Where in the world did he get the cruse? Said he had a cruse of water for him, did he not? Where did he get the cruse? He came from heaven. Does heaven just have a little storehouse of cruises up there? I'm just saying that because, you know, these are things we don't even think of sometimes. You know, we just accept the fact that there's a cake, there's a cruse of water. But the angel had to get them from somewhere, did he not? And he baked them for him and told him to eat. True or false? After Elijah ate and drank, he returned back to Israel. False. And he didn't eat and drink and laid down again. Why, you lazy dude. That's kind of the way women sometimes feel about their husbands, right? Wake him up to eat supper, and what does he do? Go right back to the lazy boy and go sleep. Well, that joker, you know, and I bet you don't feed him a second meal. Okay? See, you're not very angelic. I'm messing with y'all. The physical and emotional components of men take a lot of time to recover, don't they? Folks, many times you don't just recover immediately from something. And one good meal in time of despair doesn't necessarily mean it's going to heal you whatsoever. Okay? True or false? The angel came a second time and told him to arise and eat. True, and the angel of the Lord came again the second time and touched him and said, arise and eat. I wonder what he fixed him for the second meal. Doesn't say, does it? More angel food cake? Now, you eat too much angel bread. You remember what the Israelites said about the manna? My heart doth loathe this light bread. Okay, that's what Israel said. Very, very interesting. Here's something I put down too. We're not told how much time passed from the first time the angel fed him to the second time that he fed him. Are we? It just said that he did what? He went back and laid down again and went back to sleep. Maybe the angel gave him 6, 8 hours to allow him to rest before he aroused him again to go and eat again, because he knew that he needed strength for something. Why did he want him to arise and eat? This is interesting to me. Yes, because the journey is too great for thee. Now remember, up to this point, he had only gone how far? 1 day into the wilderness, right? So 10, 15 miles. Now he's rested. Now he's eaten 2 meals. And if he's going back to Jerusalem or back to Jezreel or back to Israel, that's not too far, is it? See, the angel knew that, guess what? He isn't going back to Israel yet. He knows exactly where Elijah's about to go. And where is that? That's Mount Horeb, folks. That's Mount Horeb. Wow. Elijah feared for his life. A 1-day journey would not keep Jezebel from finding him. You think? Oh, she could immediately dispatch the armies of Israel to find him, couldn't she? And off they go, and their horses, their chariots, their footmen. They could have covered miles of territory in a brief amount of time. He needed to flee further from Israel in order to be safe. Where was he going?
He was going to meet God on his mountain.
Mount Horeb. Isn't that what the text says? And he arose and did eat and drink. Now listen to this. And went in the strength of that meat 40 days and 40 nights unto Horeb, the mount of God. Wow. It's going to be 40 days and 40 nights before he eats again.
Does it say he didn't eat during those 40 days? Could he have gotten some food along the way, like from the trees or from the ground? That's what I was reading in one of the commentaries.
There's no indication. Remember what the angel told him? Okay? Arise and eat, for the journey is what? Too great for thee. If you don't eat now, guess what? You'll not make it. Well, if he was going to be eating and drinking along the way, why wouldn't he make it? Okay? So the implication from Scripture is that he didn't eat for the next 40 days. Okay? And that he went on, because the text says that he went in the strength of that meat. What meat? The meat that he just got fed. He went in the strength of that meat 40 days and 40 nights. So if he went in the strength of that meat, then he didn't get any other meat on the journey, did he? Anybody know how far it was from Beersheba? Now remember, he's on a day's journey farther than that. But from Beersheba to Mount Horeb, 200 miles. That's a long trip, folks. On foot, right? But I want you to think about that. If you can go 10 miles a day, you should get there in 20 days. If you can go 20 miles a day, you can get there in 10 days. But it took him 40 days to make the trip.
Because he wasn't always on flat land. He wasn't always on a straight line. It depends, because a journey can take a devil of a time if you're crawling through rocks and crevices and that mess.
It's not an easy trip, okay? Here's something interesting. Is there an interesting place in Mount Sinai that many people want to go to when they go over to the Holy Lands? Does anybody know what the place is? You can go by Horeb, okay? Nowadays, there's 2 or 3 different places that they think could have been Mount Horeb. But there's another place called Petra, okay? And Petra is a city that is built into the side of a mountain, okay? But it's a long way from Jerusalem, and it's a long way from Egypt. And so if you take a trip and you're going to Israel and you want to go, and then you're going to go down to Egypt, but you want to see Petra, guess what you have to do? You have to schedule that trip. You have to get in a vehicle and make that trip, because there's no flights in there, there's no flights out of there, so you have to intentionally make that journey, and many people do. But it is a very difficult, dry terrain to navigate. Now watch this next point. Many liken this journey to the journey of Moses in the wilderness. And there are some likenesses, but there's some differences too. You know it? Both men fasted 40 days and 40 nights. Moses did, didn't he? When he went and received the law on Sinai. But Moses' journey began at Horeb. Elijah's ended at Horeb. There's a difference, isn't it? Both men received revelation from God at Horeb, didn't they? Yeah. Moses, though, journeyed 40 years. Elijah only 40 days. Okay, so there are some likenesses and similarities. I just find it interesting that he refers to it as the Mount of who? The Mount of God. Wow. Why does he call it that? It's because it was there God manifested His presence on that mountain, isn't it? Okay, and so it became God's place, didn't it, in the minds of the children of Israel? Where did he lodge in Horeb? In a cave, cheaper than the inn. No, he lodged in a cave. Caves are cool in the summer. Caves are warm in the winter, because there's a constant temperature in caves, are there not? Somewhere around 58 degrees or so. It's still very cool in a cave, but when you've been out in 89 degree weather, it feels wonderful, doesn't it? If you've been out in, below freezing weather and you jump in a cave and it's 50-something degrees, oh, man, this is nice in here. And it also keeps the elements off the body, doesn't it? Okay. What came to a light? What's that?
He was also trying to make sure Jezebel couldn't easily find him, right?
Hopefully, yeah. I want a cave with an exit and an entrance, don't you? Usually caves have 2 openings, okay? And what came to Elijah while he was in the cave? The word of the Lord, not an angel, just simply the word of the Lord. Throughout his entire journey, the Lord had been keenly aware of Elijah's whereabouts. Isn't that true? He knew when he was in Beersheba. He knew where he was a day in the wilderness under a juniper tree. And he knows when he's where? In a cave down in the land of Horeb. And I just put this note. He was with him in his discouragement just as much as he was with him when he was victorious over the prophets of Baal on Carmel. Folks, write it down. God does not leave you in times of despair. Don't you believe that? Okay? We love life when it's victorious and it's wonderful and it's great. And then the very minute it gets a little hard and difficult and we get a little bit discouraged, we say, God, where are you? Guess what? He is right there in the middle of it. And He knows exactly what's going on. Don't forget that, folks. That's hard, isn't it? What question did the Lord ask Elijah? I love this. What doest thou here? Don't you love that? What are you doing here? I wonder how many times God wonders that about us. Right? He's a man of God. He's a prophet of God. He's supposed to be bringing the message to the children of Israel, and he's down 200 and something miles away, hiding in a cave. What doest thou here? I wonder if God would ever appear to us at some point in time and look at us and say, man, what in the world are you doing here? Because we're supposed to be what? Somewhere else. Because we're supposed to be there. I just wrote this lesson down. There are places we're supposed to be, and there's places where we ain't supposed to be. Isn't it? How about this one? To be effective, we must be where the action is. Isn't that right? There weren't no action in that cave, was there? He wasn't doing a thing for God down in that cave. Okay? What are you doing here, Elijah? And he said, I have been very blank for the Lord God of hosts. Anybody look up the word jealous? Yes. It's very simply the word zealous. Okay? I have been very zealous for the Lord's sake. Okay? Jealous in the sense of this is right, this is what we're supposed to do, this is the actions that I'm supposed to be engaged in, this is the most important work in all the world. He was actively engaged and zealous in his work, wasn't he? He worked and labored diligently, seeking to turn the children of Israel back to the law of God, but appeared to be unsuccessful in his efforts. Positive results are encouraging, negative results are discouraging. What three things did Elijah charge the children of Israel with doing? Forsaking the covenant. I'm going to make a statement at the end of each one of the points, okay? Number one, forsaking the Lord's covenant. There's no law now, right? Israel, there were Jews and there were Gentiles. And there were only one group of people, Jews, who were in a covenant relationship with God. Isn't that right? So if you don't have a law, or if you're not keeping the covenant, there is no what? There is no law. That ain't good. Number two, they've thrown down your altars. There is no worship. There's no worship. Remember, Elijah even had to build the altar back, did he not? And number three, they've slain the prophets with the sword. There is no accountability. No law, no worship, no accountability. Folks, that is a dangerous nation in which to live. Isn't it? And they seek my life to do what? Take it away. Man, Elijah was in a bad position, wasn't he? Emotionally. And God said, go forth and stand before the mount, before the Lord. What mount? Horeb, the mount of God. Elijah, get out of the cave and you go stand before the mountain of God. And he's about to experience some crazy stuff, isn't he? Gonna get gooder, I promise. Join us again next Sunday.